Get ready for Major League Wrestling action today on Supercard. Hello, everyone. I'm Craig Johnson, and recently in the GWF, I was joined by Scott Hudson as we talked to the 8-man team of gorgeous Gary Young, the Missouri Tiger Jeff Gaylord, and the Renegade Warriors. Let's go to those comments right now.
I have a lot of anger inside me right now that's going to come out. Price, you know what happened to you. And Tatum, you did make a promise, and you did have some help. I've got help behind me, too. They were a little bit late, but it'll never happen again. I know Jeff Gaylord, my partner, who's been stepping by my side, has got a surprise for you, Tatum. I'm going to be back. You can bet on it. I want to thank my other friends back here, too, man. But you can rest assured, gorgeous Gary Young ain't staying down, and Akbar, you're going down, boy.
We were scheduled for an 8-man tag team, and you guys stooped to your lowest stoop by hurting my man, Gary Young, right here. Well, the odds are even now since your stud is out. And I've got the Warriors behind me, and we make one of the most formidable 6-man tag teams there is today. So you better watch out, Tatum, because we're coming after you.
And you've been having your problems with the Maulers.
That's right, Maulers. You're in for one tonight. You heard a good friend of ours, Gary Young. We're coming after all y'all. I don't care if 3, 4, 5, it doesn't matter. I got 4 of the best, 3 of the best buddies right here to back us up. And tonight, Maulers, Tatum, you're going down. Yeah.
Let's find out what Joe Pedicino and Bonnie Blackstone have in store for us on this edition of Major League Wrestling.
Hi, everybody. Later in the show, right here from the newsroom, we'll talk about Chaz's last chance at the title. We'll also talk about a new attitude as Law and Order comes to the GWF.
On this edition of Major League Wrestling, I'll be getting some comments from our fans about the light heavyweight title and its 2 contenders, Chaz and the Lightning Kid.
Let's take a look at what caused all the problems with gorgeous Gary Young, Jeff Gaylord, and the Renegade Warriors against the Maulers and Akbar's team. It was originally supposed to be a matchup last week against Gary Young and Jeff Gaylord taking on the Maulers. What it turned out to be was a mess.
It was out of control, Craig.
Jacko Victory punishing Jeff Gaylord.
I think it's beyond punishing. I think it's about all she wrote. Look at Gaylord. He's like a limp fish.
Gaylord trying to punch out of it, but the drop leg trip.
Before he had a chance to punch his way out, Jacko Victory leg drive, leg tripped him, take his partner Rip Morgan, who's fresh now, and Rip Morgan's back in on the offensive. Word.
There you see the Renegade Warriors looking on as Gaylord, a clubbing clothesline.
Actually, it was more of a fist to the jawbone is where he caught him.
Morgan with a cover, count of 2, almost 3.
Ooh, I think that was a slow count by the referee. That should have been a 3. That should have been all she wrote.
And now punishing the neck. Rear chin lock. As now Akbar is joined in the taunting.
You know, Gary Young had half a brain. He stopped worrying about the California stud, Hollywood John Tatum, and Mr. Akbar, and worry about trying to get his partner to get some more support to his partner so he can make the tag.
Worrying about whether he made his dental insurance payments, maybe Rick Morgan, as he had his jaw come down right on the top of the head of Jeff Gaylord, who tried to break the hold, but Morgan still with a momentum until he misses with a leg drop.
Wait, here comes the tag. He's going to make the tag.
He's awful close, but will he be able to get it?
He made the tag.
So did Rip Morgan. First man in for both people.
Look at Gary Young go. He's just taking on both of the Maulers.
And now the Maulers meeting of the minds. As it's gorgeous Gary Young getting momentum off the rope, delivering the forearm.
Boom.
One more time, and now he's tripped.
Yes.
Tripped by Hollywood John Tatum. Inside the ring. It's Akbar's team against the
Breaking down into Donnybrook.
all 8 men in the ring.
We got a Pier 6 brawl. Everybody's going at it. The Renegade Warriors, Jacko Victor, Rip Morgan, Hollywood John Tatum. This place is going nuts, and the fans are going bananas.
Gaylord jumped out over the top by rugged Rod Price.
But I never liked him anyway. Akbar, put a chair in the ring, Ak.
Akbar coming in with a chair. A dangerous situation as the Maulers and Akbar's team seem to be in control here. I hear the whip. It's Bill Irwin.
What's he doing here?
Wow, Bill Irwin
out there.
Making sure that law and order is preserved in the Global Wrestling Federation.
Darwin!
They've already told me. They've already told me the attendance that the Global Dome will be full. They've already told me the most pretty girls in the world will be there on the return 7 days from now, people. 7 days. Hot stuff Eddie Gilbert returns to the Global Wrestling Federation after going so far, and I will say, I will go undefeated in Japan. Wrestling everybody there. Challenging everybody there. So everybody knows when I come back that I am a man of my word, that I don't run, that I stand up and I wrestle the best. And when I get in the ring, I fight the best. And I do whatever I have to, whether it means pulling out a chain, whether it means a help from Scott Anthony, whether it means maybe throwing a fireball out. I do what it takes to win. That's what makes me the greatest wrestler to step in the ring. You bring them all, the Patriot, Al Perez, the Simpsons, everybody, I'm back. 7 days.
Dane, once a popular competitor, that man never popular as far as I know.
And his opponent entering the ring area at a weight of 242 pounds from Tulsa, Oklahoma, Steve Cox.
Steve Cox ready for action against Stephen Dane. Steve Cox, who's had his fill of managers, and one Jim Cornette. There you see Christopher Love. Steve Cox against Stephen Dane. We're underway. Dane backs. Oh, the chop to the chest. I don't know if it had much effect on Cox, but he's rather upset about it. Now a thumb to the eye and a punch. 2 times. Reversal by Steve Cox and a high backdrop. Dane flies over and now goes down. And now out of the ring, words of... I didn't know Stephen Dane was late for his beauty appointment. John Keaton asking Steve Cox to back away. As Stephen Dane thought he had all the momentum going until he ran into the momentum, if you will, of Steve Cox. Cox sent into the ropes, steps over. Nice throw. Pulls him over with the arm drag. No hair involved, although Stephen Dane attempting to convince referee John Keaton of that fact. And now going to work with some illegal tactics of his own, as Christopher Love likes to point out so many times. Ooh, boot right to the forehead. Clothesline follows it up. Stephen Dane now under the tutelage of Christopher Love. Suplex. And Stephen Dane with an attitude of arrogance. With so much talent as a scientific wrestler, you wonder why guys like Stephen Dane take shortcuts like they do. And Stephen Cox with the shoulder block. Christopher Love pulls the foot, tried to trip him. It didn't quite work. But uh-oh, watch out. Cox wants to go to work on Christopher. And from behind, Stephen Dane. Christopher Love so happy with himself. Dane rolls Stephen Cox back into the ring. Duck under by Steve Cox. And and the clothesline. Dane trying to shake out some of the cobwebs. Watch out for Christopher Love in the corner. I don't trust that man, whether it's in the broadcasting booth or at ringside, and that's why. Dane with a foot on the rope, held there by Christopher Love. Oh, my.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of 237 pounds from Monte Carlo, the handsome stranger.
Well, there he is, suave and debonair, the handsome stranger, making his way around ringside, delivering roses to all the ladies, or at least his favorites.
I'll say this about the stranger. Oh, very nice. He's just a nice guy outside of the ring. I don't want a flower from the guy, but he's a very pleasant young man to be around.
Hugs to the fans around the ringside at the Global Dome. A kiss to the hand. And a hug. Fans wanting to hug and kiss a stranger, and very popular individual here. And lady wants the... What in the world? Lady wanted an autograph and attack Knight. What is going on here? That's Scott Anthony! Anthony dressed up! Look at that! Trying to break the cane across the neck! He said he was going to get even with a handsome stranger! Anthony driving that cane right into the throat! And now, even wearing a dress, gets the Palm Beach head drop on the stranger. He says he's going to take the mask off.
This is unreal.
There's Anthony. Only John Keaton and James Beard stand between Anthony and a helpless, handsome stranger.
Look at him! Look at him laying in the ring! Nobody can believe he's got anything! Nobody!
Oh, wow.
I can't believe this.
That's devious. That's just pure devious.
How despicable. Greg Johnson back at the Global Dome, joined by the Lightning Kid, who regained the GWF Light Heavyweight Championship. I guess you're quite proud in beating Chaz.
Craig, let me tell you something. I don't even know why you're calling me the new champion, because I was a champion all along. It was just a technicality that he left the Global Dome with the belt that night. 2 days! That's the shortest title reign I ever heard of, my friend. And you're getting one more chance tonight, Chaz. And it's not going to happen again, my friend. That's all I can say.
Are you saying this is his last chance?
This is his last chance. I don't care what the Global Wrestling Federation has to say, because I'll walk with this belt. I'll leave the whole country. I'll go to Japan somewhere, and I'll bring this belt with me if you don't like it.
Well, obviously, the Lightning Kid does indeed have a date with Chaz for the belt. He says it's Chaz's last chance. He says that he wants to hold on to the belt. Will he be able to? We'll find out.
Introducing the challenger at 200 pounds from Los Angeles, California. This is Chaz.
Well, there you see a man who held the light heavyweight championship, but then lost it back to the Lightning Kid. The Lightning Kid says this is his last chance. And the man who holds the belt is about to be introduced to the fans at the Global Dome.
Entering the ring area and defending his GWF Light Heavyweight title at 201 pounds from Tampa, Florida, the Lightning Kid.
He says the fact that Chaz beat him was a fluke. I tend to think otherwise because there were 2 wins in a row by Chaz in order to get that title originally, and there was a little bit of controversy in a match that you saw in Marietta, Georgia.
In Marietta, Georgia, the Cobb County Civic Center, Chaz went into the match as the champion, the Lightning Kid as the challenger. Controversial situation, but regardless, the Lightning Kid regained the light heavyweight championship of the GWF from Chaz at the Cobb County Civic Center in Marietta, Georgia. And now the Lightning Kid has announced, as we heard, this is Chaz's last chance at the light.
Well, the Lightning Kid gets away with it. He retains the championship. Let's go back and take a look. Retains the title, and for Chaz, that may have been his last chance. Let's go to Bonnie Blackstone.
Getting some rather strange comments from our fans here in the Global Dome. Bonnie Blackstone with Brandon. We're going to talk about the light heavyweight contendership here in the Global Wrestling Federation. Of course, the Lightning Kid currently holds that title, but he's been taking on these challenges of Chaz. What do you think about Chaz?
Well, I personally think Lightning Kid is a much better wrestler. He has much more ability. And Chaz, he's not really my type. I'd much rather see Terry Garvin going for the light championship.
Okay, so this is somebody that doesn't necessarily care for Chaz's style. What about the Lightning Kid's aerial tactics? Pretty good?
I think he's done those. He has tremendous ability, and I hope he remains the champion.
All right, a fan here of the Lightning Kid in the Global Wrestling Federation.
Fans back in the Global Dome, I'm a little bit leery considering the dangerous situation when you're talking about the Maulers and Akbar's California connection.
Well, carry on. You learned your lesson last week, punk. And now with this big tag team action coming, I've got my contingents ready. I've got the Maulers, and I got Hollywood, and we're ready. So I suggest, people, that you come to that squared circle and you be prepared, because Skandar Akbar, Mr. Akbar, and the California connection is ready to do battle in that squared circle.
But there's one man who's not ready, and that's the California stud, Rod
We know
Price.
all about that, Craig. No, you don't have to remind us. You don't have to remind us about it. But he will be ready. And we will have our day. We will have our day. And that big tag team action coming up.
The dangerous alliance of the California connection and the Maulers. Tag team action is coming up. Conan, Chris Walker, and Steve Simpson, the GWF Tag Team Champions, as they get set to take on a new team of Kenny Stryker and Tony George. But there you see the well-built body of the man known as Conan.
The big back, I tell you, I'm not a bodybuilder, but I lifted my fair share of weights, and what I would not give to have a back like Chris Walker, or anything else for that matter.
There you see a pretty big man in his own right. Ken Stryker, as he consults with Tony George in the corner.
Stryker and George, two rough and tumble looking athletes out there. Don't want to meet up with them in a dark alley.
Still to come on this edition of Major League Wrestling, that 8-man tag team match, which, quite frankly, with what the Akbar connection and the Maulers did to Gary Young last week, I don't know if he's going to be able to make it, and I don't know if Rod Price has been able to recover enough to make it, so that 8-man tag team match will be quite interesting to see. Plus, we will see Law and Order, Old West style, coming to the GWF. That coming up in our match for main events. But in the ring right here, it's Conan Chris Walker having his trouble with Kenny Stryker.
You've got to admire Chris Walker and Steve Simpson, Craig. They are fighting champions. That may be an old hackneyed term, but these men defend those titles at every turn. They defended them on television, at the arenas around the country. They do not back down from any tag team, and you've got to admire that. We've had champions in the past in other federations where they really push the envelope with that 30-day rule. It's barely 30 hours these men go without defending that title, and you've got to admire a team like Chris Walker and Steve Simpson. Also, they've held on to it, and that's a feat in its own right.
Steve Simpson in now with the extended arm bar on Tony George. Our first opportunity to see Mr. George in action. Schoolboy roll-up, count of 2 by James Beard. Talk about defending the titles all over the place. James Beard, in an official capacity all over the place, just finished another tour of Japan, where he's a very well-respected official. Body slam takes Tony George up and down. And Simpson will go back to work on the arm. Special GWF welcome to some of the stations joining the Major League Wrestling Network, like KRIS Channel 6 down in Corpus Christi, Texas. From Raleigh, Durham, WKFT TV 40, and from Beaumont, Port Arthur, Texas, KJAC TV 4. Special thanks to the management and staff of all those stations, and welcome to the GWF Network. There's good tag team wrestling by the champions.
Simpson and Walker, we've discussed it before, tag team specialists, maybe limiting themselves some by wrestling strictly tag team, but there's no questioning their success as Stryker comes in a little bit late, and oh, does he pay the price from Chris Walker.
Well, it looked like Stryker may have come in a little bit late and takes an early exit.
That's the hard way down.
There's the tag. George sent into the ropes. Drop kick by Simpson. He's not quite down, but now he is. The champs with a win. Conan, Chris Walker, and Steve Simpson with a win. Let's go down the body, see what they think of this.
Looking at the tag team champions in action down here, Shane, what do you think about them?
I think that they complement each other and they make a great tag team.
And they're definitely good looking, too.
Fans, within the last 2 years, both of these men have been parts of Devastation Incorporated under the tutelage of Skandor Akbar. Now they've seen the light. They are very much against Skandor Akbar, the Missouri Tiger Jeff Gaylord, and gorgeous Gary Young.
You know, that's right. You know, it wasn't too long ago I took back and took a second look at my career, decided to make some changes. One of them was getting Akbar out of my life. I did that knowing full well somewhere down the line that slimy guy was going to come back and haunt me. Well, you're here, Akbar. You're trying to haunt me. You got a great team in Tatum and Price, but I've got backed up with a Missouri Tyler here. I don't have to tell you what this man can do. He speaks for himself, All-American football player, pro USFL football player, and he can back me up. And, Jeff, what are you going to say about that? He's doing it wrong.
Akbar, I got tired of lying with the lowest life forms on the planet. I'm above that, you see, and so is Gary. And that's why we left you, because we fight fair and square, and we're not down to your evil ways anymore.
Akbar, you're going down, you're getting our way. Rod Price, don't even think about it.
Well, there you see gorgeous Gary Young, who has had his problems with the Skandor Akbar, and right now he may be having his problems with Bill Irwin as they get right into the tussle with a collar and elbow to get things underway here on the GWF today. Both men trading the right Irish whip into the corner. Young follows it up and a knee up by Wild Bill Irwin. Follows it up with a forearm. Since Irwin arrived on the scene in the GWF, as you see the modified version of the float kick, he has been trying to whip his opponents quite literally. Gary Young, who began his career, I guess you could say, on the wrong side of the tracks, delivering the clothesline there, has been trying to do what's best for wrestling and what's best for the fans. Irwin, the victim of the backdrop there. Coming down. Gary Young gets a count of 1 from referee James Beard. Young scoops him up and takes him down and then delivers the knee to the forehead. Both these men know how to be roughhousers. As Young shows there with a right and another right to the forehead. But both men also excellent wrestling technicians. Irwin, who has a background in high school football, track wrestling, and even rodeo, against a man in gorgeous Gary Young who passed up 3 scholarships to go into professional wrestling. Those scholarships offered in the sport of track and field, and oh! rope. And Wild Bill Irwin didn't realize in the series of all those reversals that he'd have a one-way trip over the top. Rolling back in, Wild Bill. Irish whip into the rope, drop kick sends Wild Bill down. The cover, 1-2 by James Beard. Not enough for 3. Scoops him up, takes him down, maybe going up top for the cannonball. If he can ace this. No, went for the cross body block. And Mr. Skandor Akbar is down at ringside. And here come the California Stud and John Tatum. Akbar's California connection may be trying to put Gary Young out. Here's Akbar in. As Young set in, power slam by the Stud. It's a 4-on-1 situation. Akbar, the Stud, Tatum, who delivers the super kick right to the chin. Irwin picking up the whip. This situation is bad. Irwin cracks the whip once. Cracks it again. Gary Young may be in for the worst of this. 4-on-1. Akbar tells his men to pick up Gary Young. Irwin's gonna whip Gary Young. It's a 4-on-1 situation. Irwin whips Tatum, whips Price, clear of the ring. Irwin, who had the opportunity to get a clear shot at Gary Young, instead says, I've had enough of this. An unfair situation. He clears the ring of Akbar's California connection. Young not knowing what to think of this. James Beard over there as Tatum quite upset at this turn of events. Irwin in the ring. Beard saying enough of this. You see Gary Young in the corner. He's trying to stay away from the rawhide himself. As security takes the California connection back. There you see Gary Young, the winner of the match due to outside interference.
Ladies and gentlemen, by disqualification, the winner of the match is Gary Young.
Irwin leaves the Global Dome. Gary Young, your winner, and we'll be back with more after this.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. I'm right here in front of you, and it scares you, doesn't it?
Very true, but I hear a lot of talk about Law and Order coming to the GWF.
Law and Order is coming to the GWF. Remember back in the old days when you watch the Westerns, when the sheriff comes down the dusty road and you can hear his spurs clanking and the sun's at his back. Nobody steps up and says, hey, just a minute, what are you doing here? Get out of the way. That's right. They don't. Well, I think a little bit of that type of Law and Order needs to come back. Because Akbar's group, anybody's group, they start doing this 2-on-1, 3-on-1. It just happened to me here a couple of weeks ago, and I am sick and tired of it. So from now on, I don't care who it is. If there's somebody that's getting the worst end of the stick and they haven't got any chance, you can be guaranteed that Wild Bill's going to be there with Mr. Lash to even up the odds. So you people, sit back and relax, because I'll be there.
716 pounds, Mike and Chris Youngblood, the Renegade Warriors, and Jeff Gaylord.
3 competitors coming in for this particular team. We've been told it is indeed a 6-man tag team event, as 1 man from each team injured. In the case of this team, it's Gorgeous Gary Young. For Akbar and the Maulers team, it's the California Stud, Rod Price. Here comes Akbar's team along with the Maulers.
Introducing their opponents for this tag team event. At a total weight of 804 pounds, introducing Jacko Victory and Rip Morgan, the Maulers.
And watch out! The Warriors ready for battle right off the bat. As Jacko Victory feeling the wrath of Mark Youngblood on this interview stage, while outside Chris Youngblood on Rip Morgan, and there's the crack of the whip.
Law and order has arrived.
Sweet Daddy Falcone comes down with Akbar, and Irwin is down there to make sure that law and order will prevail.
We've got it evened up, and now acting senior official James Beard has things under control in the ring. Give credit to James Beard here as this six-man tag team event is underway.
There you see Irwin scaring Hollywood John Tatum. Now it was Akbar's team, as you just saw, that Wild Bill Irwin didn't want any part of.
Not too many whips like that in Hollywood as John Tatum shies away from the whip of the Law and Order man, Bill Irwin. And there's a look at the Ripper, Rip Morgan of the Maulers.
He will start off against Mark Youngblood. A new, almost darker look for the older of the Youngblood brothers. The Renegade Warriors have had their problems with the Maulers, and they wanted this originally 8-man tag team, now 6-man tag team match more than just about anybody.
That's a good point. It was originally to be an 8-man tag team event with Gary Young joining Jeff Gaylord and the Renegade Warriors, and the California stud Rod Price joining John Tatum and the Maulers. However, Gary Young and Rod Price have both received injuries since the match was set up.
One so pretty much premeditated, I believe, by Akbar and his team. That on gorgeous Gary Young.
And it ends up being a 6-man event.
Still all 6 men ready for action as Rip Morgan takes Jeff Gaylord, delivers the elbow as Gaylord had the velocity coming off the ropes. The tag into John Tatum, who is ready for the Missouri Tiger, but oh my! That Tiger was ready to pounce.
And Tatum was not ready to receive it. There's a look at the Missouri Tiger. Jacko Victory steps in. And he doesn't look like he's all that excited about facing Jeff Gaylord either.
The 2 men in the ring, Jacko Victory and Jeff Gaylord, as Gaylord would like to get his hands on the man that put his partner out. Into the corner, Gaylord powers Victory. Not many people can do that. Look at the velocity, down set, uh-oh. Gaylord almost goes out of the ring there as Jacko Victory taking advantage. And now here comes Tatum. The Warriors in. It's breaking loose.
The referee has got to restore order, and James Beard is trying to do just that.
Over the top goes Chris Youngblood. Watch out. Akbar and Falcone lurking about as Jacko Victory sends him into the post.
This could get out of control very, very easily.
And Irwin with a crack of the whip.
Yes, sir. Back him up.
He's there to make sure Akbar and his charges don't get involved in this match when they're not supposed to. Morgan delivers the clothesline to Chris Youngblood. Gets the boot of his partner, Jacko Victory. There's the tag as the other member of the Maulers comes in. Series of rights. As you hear the crack of the whip, that usually means that Akbar and Falcone are getting a little bit too close to the action.
It's almost like a siren or an alarm that goes off. You hear the whip, you know the other guys are getting out of line.
And that one caught one of the Maulers out of line. Sunset flip. Over goes Tatum. 1, 2. Almost a count of 3 by senior official James Beard. The double axe handle delivered to Chris Youngblood. Into the boot once again. As Chris Youngblood in a bad way. The tag into Jacko Victory. But the other legal man outside of the ring, watch out, Sweet Daddy, looming very close while Irwin keeps the Law and Order eye on him. Victory tried to follow up with a clothesline. The boots get up, courtesy of Chris Youngblood. And nobody's going to give you a tag there unless it's one to the chops.
What a kick by Chris Youngblood. Really sent Jacko Victor to the wrong corner, and now the Warriors wreaking havoc.
Mark Youngblood delivering the chops as it's breaking loose at the Global Dome.
This keeps getting out of control. James Beard is going to have to restore order. Or either Bill Irwin's going to have to, and I don't think anybody really wants that to happen.
The chop by Chris Youngblood sends Jacko Victory out. Meanwhile, Mark Youngblood taking care of Rip Morgan. In the ring, the Renegade Warriors and Jeff Gaylord stand alone.
Those are not happy faces.
And now the Maulers look like they may be taking an early exit. There you see the pout of John Tatum.
And a very angry Sandor Akbar.
And now, crack of the whip, Irwin sends Tatum scurrying. And now another official has come down. And the officials, watching as Akbar's contingent and the Maulers. Well, there's the bell ringing. And this one just got out of hand, apparently. Let's get the official word.
Ladies and gentlemen, the referee has determined that there is no winner to this contest.
A no contest as it just got too out of control.
Well, speaking of out of control, we've got to talk to the Palm Beach heartthrob, Scott Anthony. We'll do that when we return. You must be pretty proud of yourself.
I'm real proud of myself. I told the stranger last week. I told him, stranger, don't mess with my business. You humiliated me. You embarrassed me. I told you you're going to pay. So, stranger, that was your wake-up call. It's time to wake up and quit professional wrestling. I hurt you. I embarrassed you. I humiliated you just like I said I would. That's why I'm Scott Anthony, the Palm Beach heartthrob. Stranger, if you got half a brain, you will retire from the sport of professional wrestling. You ain't been in it too long, and if you come back, I will put you in a wheelchair and you will never walk in. So don't come back, stranger. Stay out. That was your wake-up call. Take it. Take heed. Stay out of Scott Anthony's business. Don't ever get in my business again. Don't show up anywhere where I'm at. And quit the sport. Quit the sport, because if you don't, I will permanently hospitalize you.
One of the most despicable acts we have ever seen out of the man who was just sitting right. I didn't even want to stand here with him.
He's just not funny anymore, Craig. There's no getting around that.
A lot of great action today on the show, including that tag team. I guess we can still call it a mess, but Scott Anthony and the Handsome Stranger, if they absolutely... Well, let's take a look at it again as we leave you. For Joe Pedicino, Bonnie Black.